Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, members of the council. Thank you very much for the invitation. My name is Frank O'Brien, and I apologize for my back. My name is Frank O'Brien. I'm the assistant to the Public Works Commissioner. Mike Dennehy with me is Robert Rosa, who's the superintendent of our waste reduction division. I think you've all heard is that the trash contracts have been decided and that we're entering into a new contract starting the week of July 1st in a number of neighborhoods: North End, Beacon Hill, Bay Village, South End, Chinatown, Fenway, Back Bay. Those neighborhoods that currently have 3 trash collections, we refer to it as 3 trash collections and 1 recycling day, 3 plus 1. It's now going to be 2 plus 2. So the Wednesday trash collection day will be eliminated in those neighborhoods that have 3 trash collections. They're one of the main factors and the overriding factor that went into the decision of the cost. There were a number of scenarios when the Public Works Department put it out to bid for potential contractors. We gave them several scenarios we gave them to bid on. One of them was the status quo, 3 plus 1. The other one was the one we're entering into is 2 plus 2. One of them was also the restricted hours of trash placement and also collection. So the scenario was residents could put their trash out only between the hours of 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. And the trash collection would begin in those neighborhoods with 3 collections at 9 a.m. with the goal of having the trash off by noon. Unfortunately, the bids that came back, and we only had 2 bidding on it, Rob? 2. Yes. So it's the number of contractors bidding on this the number has significantly reduced over the years. So as Roger said, we now come down to 2 contractors, which was Sunrise Scavengers and Capital Waste. And the way the numbers came back is to have those hours, trash placement between the hours of 6 a.m. and 9 a.m., trash and recycling collection between 9 a.m. and the goal of 12 noon. That was basically an additional 8% out of our entire budget. And the number came out to right around $6.5 million. That would be additional for those hours in the morning. So a lot of it came down to the money, and how could we justify that expenditure for those neighborhoods. I know that many of the North End and also the other neighborhoods that had 3 trash collections plus the South End really wanted to, a number of the neighborhood leaders wanted to have that 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. trash placement, but unfortunately the numbers didn't work out for us. So we have a responsibility to pick up the trash and recycling, but we also have to be fiscally responsible to the mayor and the city. So that's where we stand. We've clearly heard from the North End that there were concerns about where do I put my trash. So I'm only getting, I used to have trash collections Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The fact of the matter is that we saw the numbers as Mondays and Fridays compared to Wednesday. Monday and Friday, the numbers of tonnage was up, where Wednesday was much lower throughout all of the neighborhoods that had 3 trash collections. So there's going to be, I think, there's going to be some adjustment. There's going to be change. And just like with anything else that's come to the North End related to the Public Works Department, whether it's been adding streets for posted street sweeping in the North End, expanding the posted street sweeping to 10 months instead of 8, there was a lot of initial concern about it. I think what we've seen from those efforts, those types of efforts, even though the change initially was difficult, the neighborhood's cleaner. One of the things that Commissioner Dennehy of the Public Works Department is, he's sort of an old school guy in a lot of ways. He believes in hokies, hand personnel, with brooms and barrels. I think you've seen an increase in that in the North End. He believes in services such as power washing, on sidewalks, painting street furniture, that type of thing. So we're trying to deliver that to the north end. We want to continue to try to stay on top of that. Again, we understand for many of the people in the north end, there's disappointment about not having those hours that I mentioned, the 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. placement. But unfortunately, one of the things when we make these decisions comes down to being fiscally responsible. So as far as getting the word out, we're here with the council tonight. We'll be with the Residents Association on Thursday night. We've met with the Chamber of Commerce. On the 16th, you'll start seeing the electronic message boards, similar to what we put out to notify people who posted street sweeping. The local media has been wonderful, and thank you very much in getting the word out, both electronically and through the print. We're going to be taking out ads in all of the local papers. You'll be getting a postcard in the mail starting on the 11th. They'll be getting mailed out on the 11th. That will inform you of the change. That'll be sort of brief and to the point. And we're also developing a brochure that's going to follow up with that in July, which gives you a lot more detail about trash and recycling guidelines, how to place it out. Always emphasizing one of the main key points is for those who don't have room for barrels or recycling bins, is that they're properly containerizing that in a sturdy, either trash bag for your residential trash or a clear plastic bag for a sturdy bag for your recycling. So, I know you've had a long night. Rob, did I?
No, you pretty much covered it. I just wanted to say that this didn't just happen. We just put this bid out. It was a long, like maybe a 2-year process. We actually hired a consultant firm to come in and do a waste analysis of the Boston proper, the Monday, Wednesday, Friday collection sections of the city that get it done twice a week in Charlestown. And they came in and did the waste audit. And what we found is that, especially in the north end, Monday, there was a lot of recyclable materials being thrown away because of the weekends, the partying, and whatever else have you. Well, that's where we've seen most of our recycling. We had more recycling in the trash on Monday than we actually did on Friday. And we also noticed that the section of the city, Charlestown, that only had one trash day, one recycling day, is that they maximized. They're actually to the point where they pretty much maximize their recycling, and that they can't squeeze any more out of it. That's basically all that they get. That's what we're hoping for here in this section of the city. I know that I live in the south end, and I have some of the same constraints that all of you have. I'm looking forward to our neighborhood. I'll be able to clean up my closet instead of having in my hallway closet, keeping all my recyclables there. I'll be able to get it out for the weekend. So that's one of the advantages. The contractor coming in is Sunrise Scavenger. He's been in his gentleman. He's local. He's grew up in Hyde Park. His name's Joseph Lombardi. He actually worked for BFI Waste Systems for years. He's a pretty savvy business guy. He does a great job, and you'll be very happy with this service.
And I think the last thing I'll say before you have any questions or comments is we didn't make this decision lightly. The mayor was involved in it. Councilor Martina was actively pursuing what the wishes of many of the people in the north end for the 6 to 9 a.m. trash placement. Again, with the goal of reducing the amount of time that trash or recycling is sitting at the curbside. The decision wasn't arrived at lightly, because the neighborhoods made themselves painfully clear about how they want to pursue it. The bottom line, I think, is we are getting, in a way, we're getting towards that goal of reducing the amount of time that trash and recycling is out there. So instead of having trash sitting out 6 days of the week currently, because you can put it out 5 o'clock the night before and it sits out there in the morning. So instead of 6 days, you're down 4 days. And I think what you're going to see with the efforts I mentioned, with the Hokies and the other public works efforts, and not having that trash sitting out there for a night and a morning, you're gonna see a reduction. You're gonna see a reduction in litter. It's just the way it's gonna go. And I'd say, there's gonna be kinks to this, but I'd say when you come through October, you're gonna say the neighborhood is noticeably cleaner, because there's gonna be less trash out there. John Meany from Inspection Services, Environmental Services wanted to be here tonight, couldn't make it, but he did say that over the past month, they've been doing an aggressive rodent baiting program in the North End. They're seeing some good results on that. He wanted me to pass that along, so I think I've talked to him.
Thanks for coming. I don't know if you've already figured out what you want to put in your brochure, but if we can make a suggestion. We've discussed possibly including just education in terms of if you have disposal, if you're fortunate enough to have a sink disposal to properly dispose of it that way. I think that a lot of people are still kind of new to the single stream recycling idea. Those are just a couple things that we had discussed. I don't know if there's anything else, but like not just the when and where, but here's a couple tips.
Yeah,
I think that'll help.
Thank you, and if, I have some cards, if you can email whatever you have to me, and I'll try to incorporate that. That's just sort of to get the initial word out. We're gonna be changing that flyer around, that's gonna be the brochure, but we also wanna be able to get in there, and again, you can't make it too wordy, but we wanna, there's gonna be different photos, here's the right way to put it out, here's the wrong way, hopefully with, pictures of recycling materials, what's allowed, what's not allowed, that type of thing. So we're working on that. We're taking those suggestions and we're gonna try to make it work. That's it.
Carrying on, picking up on that point, do you anticipate including the verbiage that says, however, residents are urged to place trash out on the morning of the pickup by 7 a.m. rather than the night before? This will significantly reduce the opportunity for spillage and rodent foraging. Do you see yourself incorporating that in the postcard? Because as you know, just by way of background.
Oh, yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's gonna be in there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's encouraging.
No, exactly. Correct. No, as opposed to not putting it at all, which is not what I want that to be.
Right, yeah, and that's,
If we
again,
understood that the policy couldn't change, that I was part of a multi-neighborhood effort in the last year and a half, and because of cost, and you mentioned 6%, 17% cost increases, whatnot, or savings versus the cost increase for that proposal. But I do appreciate you including that verbiage, because yes, the policy hasn't changed, 5 p.m. the day before, up to 7 a.m. the day of. But hopefully people will notice that, so that anyone that truly is able to wait until the morning of to put the trash out, still by 7, will hopefully do so. So thank you for.
yeah, I think we'll bold that, so that.
Please,
Yeah,
we're on bold and underline, whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the time that they pick up these recycle? I notice, I work on Hanover Street, and they it's, that recycle garbage is there, up to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Sometimes I have to call.
Well, the goal is gonna would be out of the North End by noon time. That's the goal. I know lately with Capital, what's happening right now, they're in a transition. Some of their employees, because they're losing this contractor, starting to take the time off. And usually what happens, when somebody loses a contract, the service becomes a little slower because employees start to look elsewhere for jobs, and it's hard to find a local 25, hard to find a guy to work on the back of the truck or even drive it today. And then when Sunrise comes in, I would estimate close to 4 to 6 weeks before things settle down and they get used to the new routes. But the goal is to be off, be out of the North End and off Beacon Hill by noon time.
Also, I work for a real estate office, I like to put these in with all my tenants' leases. Where could I get a stack of these?
For me, I'll give you my card and I'll be happy to get them. Actually, Rob was in contact with Greater Boston Real Estate Board.
they should.
And they're on board with us as far as getting the word out to all of their people. So we'll take any assistance from any corner to get the message out. So I'll give you my card.
So by getting in touch with the Greater Boston Real Estate Board, I assume they have some type of database that lists all current landlords on record, so that you can target all them in addition to all the residential addresses that you're already going to mail this to?
They have close to 7,500 members, so they'll be able to dissect, because what we want to focus on, especially the big buildings, the larger buildings that are, that are used to the Monday, Wednesday, and get their word out, that they're gonna more than likely have to find a private contractor to handle the extra wires and such.
And just as Rob mentioned with the contractor that, there's some learning curve here, it's the same for the residents. So we understand that, first week of July, yeah, there's gonna be some trash out there on Wednesdays. Certainly don't want that to happen, but we understand that that is gonna happen. So we're gonna tread lightly as far as code enforcement or anything of that goes, but we'll be getting it off.
We'll have trucks running around the street picking up after people that didn't quite get them.
Just so everyone knows, the new contract that starts July 1st happens to fall on the Tuesday. Guess what the next day is?
Wednesday. Yeah, no
So
trash.
it's going to be very easy for people to forget, not just moving forward for this
Right.
month or so, but especially.
And then it's vacation time too, so
Okay.
basically
They gotta
people
clarify
vacationing.
curves.
So you won't give out warnings?
Yes.
Can I just ask a quick question about, the recycling, I mean, we're segue into fining, because several of my neighbors have been fined recently for improper recycling, and part of that thing is, I've been in the North End my whole life, that recycling seems to have changed 3 times in the past 8 years. There are still blue boxes out in the North End, but now there are also clear trash bags. And, there seems to be still a lack of consistency, and some people are upset that they've just asked me to communicate this, that they've been confused about current policies, so I imagine that's going to be, also underlined. The second thing is that fining for trash has often been improperly administered. That is, that people have been fined for trash in front of their house, which is not theirs. And this is, That's right. there's no proof, and
That's a constant problem. I mean,
Yeah,
what we
I
request,
check it
I have
last
fine
week.
with them.
what we request is like,
We
file
know these
appeal,
rules.
and, we talk to the officer, they're supposed to go through the bag, see what
It
they
is
can
capped.
find. And everybody that lives in the inner city knows it's the flight of a trash bag.
Okay.
We try to find these, get some identification, but it's not always possible. But there is an appeal process. There's some places that are just complete offenders, and it's, I was at Housing Court the other day, and this one woman you could tell was probably, it's not something, it came from somebody else, and she didn't get the fine. Basically, the fine was rescinded. But then you had a landlord that would come in from, one other section of the city and have a portfolio like this, and complaining about a couch or couches that happened to be on the sidewalk during student movement, and we had no control over that.
We have people that come drive cars and leave it off.
One more thing on the agenda, but thank you.
Can I just ask one question?
Sure.
Is the, hi Frank, Francine Gannon, I'm so glad to see you're still with us. Yeah, I like myself, and again, I want to thank you, Counselor, for all the work you've done throughout, my God, for years, trying to solve the trash problem. Just one quick question. The bags have to be clear, the
For
trash?
recycling?
Yes.
The only reason I ask is because I have 5 units, and I have installed trash compactors. I mean, the city should maybe start an incentive or something for landlords who install trash compactors into their units, so this way the trash is compacted, and 2 days should be sufficient then, because you could hold it. So I mean, the city should think of Brandon some sort of an incentive to landlords who in fact install trash compactors. But my problem is this now, the trash bags that you buy that are very expensive, because that's why some tenants do not want to use the trash compactor. The trash bags are not clear. They're a heavy-duty white plastic.
Well,
What can be done now? I've got trash compactors in my unit. It's a KitchenAid. They're all white, heavy plastic. And I'm telling you, you probably only need 1 pickup if they're used properly, because it's a real nice size. What do I do now that
You can use the white bags
yeah,
for trash.
that's fine.
For trash.
For trash, but not for
Yeah.
No,
recycling.
no, no, I just want to make, that's what I'm saying, because they're white, they're a white, hard, white plastic bag.
Yeah,
That trash can all go, and that can go out.
That's correct.
Right.
Because it's really all
Clear
compacted.
bag is for
It's for recycling that we,
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I have one question.
Yeah,
Could you clarify when, it may sound stupid, but it says trash must be placed on the curbside. Now, when you say curbside, are you talking about the actual sidewalk or on the curb?
It's just near, right next to the.
Right in front of your building, like up against your building, not at the curb itself.
Correct.
Because, I mean,
No,
some of
it's
us, well, see, some of
Either
our
or.
streets are
Either
so
or. It's
narrow.
Either or.
You can have it, yeah, you
Yeah.
can bring it right to the, I mean, the trash guys would probably prefer that you bring it right to the curb, but
Yeah, I might have to change that from North End, because your sidewalks
Well,
are
our
lot
sidewalks are so narrow
than-
that the whole sidewalk is taken up sometimes by the trash. The other thing I was gonna say, for anybody that is interested, I know that's not the cheapest thing, but Whole Foods does sell the clear trash bags that has the mayor's name on them,
Recycling bag.
and you can buy them in Whole Foods.
And you won't get fined.
Also,
I don't think they have this man's name on it.
Huh?
like,
They still have Menino's name on them.
200 bags.
I buy them for the recycling. I mean, these are. I put all.